The most important aspect of writing a blog is building a structure. And building this structure is what most newbie writers struggle with rather than writing the actual content. So the first thing that I do before I start writing a blog is make a Google document. I add various sections to it like the blog title, meta description, number of words, primary keywords, secondary keywords, and references. Now you might not need to use all these sections in all the drafts that you write. But if you write SEO blogs, then all the mentioned sections will be important for your clients. So let's take a look at how to write a blog from start to finish using a real example.
Okay, so let's start with the main components of the blog article, starting with introduction, the main body, and the conclusion. These are the three main points that you need to have in your blog. So I'm just quickly highlighting each of those. What I typically do is first start with the main body. This is specially for the SEO focused blogs because they are usually of the type 5 ways to do something, 7 ways to do something, etc. So what you need to do is first jot down those 4 to 5 points that you want to focus on. Let's take the blog title in this case as Advantages of Storytelling in Teaching. Sounds interesting and easy to write content on. So now what I'll do is just copy the title and paste it in Google search. I can see a lot of articles that are coming up with respect to this topic. So the point is not about copying content from other articles, but just like you would have visited a library, you need to do a lot of secondary research before you start writing your own article. And you can just pick the most relevant points that you find for your article, and using references is not at all bad. Like, you need to overcome the guilt of using internet for writing your articles. Now, for example, in this case, I might just find 2 points out of like 8 benefits that they've listed, which is okay. So I go to another article and find any points that I find relevant for my piece. I find this one relevant, so I'll quickly take it, and obviously not the entire one, but just a part of it. Another point that I find relevant to my article. And the wording can be modified as per your own choice. We need one more point, so I'll quickly glance through other articles that I'm finding here. This is something that I find relevant, so I'll use it as my point number 5. So now I'm ready with the 5 main points that I want to focus on in this article. I need to now start elaborating on each of the points. Now it's usually preferred that you do the elaboration on your own based on whatever research you're doing. This is to avoid any copyright issues, plus this will give your own unique flavor to the blog. Some quick formatting that I want to do. Now the elaboration of each of the points depends on the depth you want to achieve as well as the number of words you're supposed to write. So typically I write 600 to up to 2500 a number of words. Totally depends on the client's requirement as well as the purpose of the blog. Now once I'm done with the main body, I come to the introductory part. The introduction is one of the most important components of your blog, and that is why I like to spend some time based on whatever content I'm writing. So depending on the length of the blog, you can write an introduction of about a paragraph or two at the most, but don't beat around the bush a lot, and just quickly jump to whatever it is you want to say in the main body. So it should quickly give you an introduction of the topic, why you're saying what you're saying, and then jump on to the main content. And the last part that I do is the conclusion. So conclusion is another important component of your blog, which should summarize what you have been saying till now. And especially for SEO focused blogs, you need to have a call to action. Like, it cannot just end abruptly. Encourage them to take some sort of action, like maybe calling up the client website, or maybe just clicking on another page, or whatever it is. Like, there should be some logical conclusion to your blog. It cannot be just an article. These are just some examples that I've written, like, want to know more, visit our library to find more resources, or contact us to know more about our services, etc. Now comes the meta part, wherein you need to write the meta title of the blog. This is for SEO purposes. You might or might not get guidance from SEO, so you might want to look it up. Then the meta description, you should ideally give it to each of your client, whether or not they ask for it. It will help improve the performance of your blogs as well. The primary keywords, if your client has shared any keywords that they want to target, and you might also want to include the density of those keywords, like how many times you've used those particular keywords in your blog. For example, 3 times, 5 times. Mostly you need to focus on primary keywords. Like, depending on the number of words, they might tell you that you have to use it 3 to 4 times, and secondary keywords can be something like 1 or 2 times throughout the article. Some quick formatting. It's always good to have good formatting in your articles. Just makes your and your client's life easier. Now that you've finished the blog, another check that you should do ideally is check the plagiarism, because you never know that there might be some content that you might have copy pasted and forgotten to paraphrase. So just quickly go to free tools like this one that I use, Small SEO Tools. It's not 100% perfect, but helps you identify basically a lot of plagiarism. Then you might also use Grammarly. So with or without paid, it's good enough to point out some minor mistakes that you might be doing while writing the article.
That's it. If you are a beginner, and depending on the quality of content, you might need an entire day to write a blog. However, with time and practice, you can easily write a blog in 2 to 3 hours, especially if it is an SEO focused blog. As mentioned in our previous videos, you can get clients by approaching small startups or creative agencies. If you want to know more or have any questions about how to start, feel free to drop a comment down below. Stay tuned for our next video. Till then, take care.